Hello folks, Andy here from the Spirit of 2016 podcast, coming to you with another one of these GAWA Summer Weekly Round-Ups. I'm not going to really mess around this week because we've loads to get stuck into. You know how it works by now. We do a bit of a pre-season roundup. We talk about some of the transfer rumours involving the Northern Irish players, and we finish up with any stories pertaining to the Northern Ireland national team. So yeah, if you missed the last couple, do you think I've maybe missed some news? Go back and listen to the last couple before calling me out on it, as I may have covered it there. But yeah, we'll get stuck straight into the pre-season. So I think the last one I did was maybe Tuesday afternoon. So anything from Tuesday onwards, I've been making a few notes on my phone, making sure I don't miss anything out. So any games from Tuesday onwards I'm going to cover here. Obviously, most of the players kind of in pre-season action now, so these are only the highlights. And I also did do a piece on the Facebook and Twitter page, kind of more detailed roundup of some of the players who have been playing and the highlights that have been going on in pre-season recently. So maybe have a look at that. But just to summarise, the boys scored again. So that makes it 3 in 4 matches in the Scottish League Cup group stages for him. Hearts qualified with 12 points, set up a second round tie with Celtic away. I think that's played fairly early in the season, so good luck to them there. Daniel Ballard, this one I missed last week. This was actually before last Tuesday, but he scored a header for Millwall, first Millwall goal in a pre-season behind closed doors match against Fulham in a 1-1 draw. Carl Winchester, who I mentioned last week, was playing right back for Sunderland. He got on the score sheet in a 4-0 win against Harrogate, I believe. Joel Cooper, somebody I'd forgotten as well. He got a brace for Oxford United, albeit in a 9-0 win against Hayes and Yedding. So, questionable opposition there. Maybe not the greatest test in the world, but good to see Joel Cooper back. There was a match they played, I think, against Oxford City. So they're Oxford United, remember. They played Oxford City in a friendly. And there were reports Joel Cooper had a lively game. He follows that up with 2 more goals in pre-season there. He was somebody I'd kind of forgotten about. Obviously, hadn't been back to Linfield last year, but good to see him doing well in pre-season. Let's hope he can get some minutes at League One and really kick on as a professional footballer and get himself back in that Northern Ireland squad. Jamal Lewis is the next one. Actually, one that took me by surprise. It's not kind of somebody I'd been looking out for in pre-season, really. But he got 2 assists for Newcastle in a 3-2 win against Doncaster. Steve Bruce has been playing like a 5 at the back formation, so Lewis has been playing a little bit more at left wing back than left back. Some people think that suits him a bit better. Apparently he did play 4 at the back in that particular match, but a bit of versatility for Lewis there. And I reported, I think, in the first weekly roundup that Steve Bruce says he's going to get his chance this season, especially with, I'm not sure if Matt Ritchie's off yet, but there are rumours that Matt Ritchie's going to Bournemouth. So that opens up a place for Lewis to get back into the side. And obviously they spent a lot of money on him, so they'll want to make that work. And the final one, just to mention, it's gone a little bit quiet in Shane Lavery. Blackpool have had a massive COVID outbreak. Now, I'm not actually sure if Lavery himself has COVID or he's been in close contact with somebody who's had COVID or it's another injury, but there's something like 16 players out at the minute. So he, after he scored in that first game, came on against Southport and scored. He hasn't been playing since. So, whatever it is, whether it's an injury, whether it's just isolation, let's hope he can get back on the pitch as soon as he can, because obviously he had a very promising start to his Blackpool career. And the last one kind of ties into the transfer rumours as well. I kind of want to do a little bit of a segue to that because I think it works quite nicely. I reported last week that Gavin White, potentially the move to Hull was off because they're under transfer embargo, and Cardiff are keen to actually get a permanent move for White. If he's going, they want it to be permanently, not on loans. He's 2 years in his contract left, and Cardiff paid $2 million for him. They'll want to regather some of that money. But some interesting comments from Mick McCarthy this week. Sort of say new manager. I think he came in around March time. But Mick McCarthy was saying, we're going to have a look at this guy. We're going to give him his chance in pre-season. He reported that there have been a lot of clubs interested, including some championship clubs. And he said, listen, we're going to give him his chance. We're going to get a look at him. And since then, White has scored the winner in a pre-season game and set up the equaliser in another, I believe. So good to see White taking his chance, even if that just does add like a few more quid on his valuation or gets him a few more suitors if Cardiff do make the decision to sell. That all bodes well for him. So keep an eye on the Gavin White stories. Maybe he will get his chance this year. Cardiff obviously higher end of the championship table, so it's a difficult one. It's going to be very hard to get into that side, get regular minutes. But he's doing himself no harm by the looks of things in pre-season. So well done, Gavin White. Other transfer rumours then. So a new one this week, one that I didn't expect, was Kieran Brown. So Neil Warnock actually confirmed that Middlesbrough are interested in signing Kieran Brown. He said he's one of the 3 players they're looking at right now, confirming rumours that were taking place earlier in that week. Interesting that he actually sees him, I think, as a left-sided player, like a left back. He mentioned the kind of shortage of left backs in the Middlesbrough squad, and he said Brown's somebody they're looking at. So, obviously we've seen Kieran Brown mainly playing in the left of centre back for Northern Ireland. We know he can play left wing back, as he did a little bit for Livingston and Cardiff, and also just at left back. So again, as I've said about Kieran Brown before, listen, I don't think any of us are as excited about this guy as we are about, say, Daniel Ballard coming through, but he's a young player. If he can get playing regularly at championship level and offers us that versatility of maybe playing left back, if we go to 5 at the back, he can play left wing back, and he's a very important member of our squad. And he's actually impressed me. I think he's impressed all of us in the games that he's played. He always impressed me for the under-21s. So let's see if that one goes through. If not, hopefully he'll get his chance to get some minutes at Cardiff as well. And the main thing is, that he'll be playing championship football at his age, and who knows what he can progress into. The Chronicle Live this week are reporting Jordan Jones, which nobody really knows what's happening. For about 2.5 years, there's been rumours that he'll be leaving Rangers. Obviously, seems to have had a little bit of a strained relationship with Gerrard over the years for various different reasons. He's come back in pre-season, seems to be getting his chance and seems to be doing okay. Now the Chronicle Live, which must be a local Wigan outlet, they're reporting that Jordan Jones is expected to leave Rangers this summer. I haven't seen that anywhere else, so I don't know if they've any insight in that, or they're kind of going off previous dealings with Rangers. But they're saying that Wigan are quite keen to bring him in, so possible move to League One there. I'd personally quite like if Jordan Jones got a championship club. It's reported that championship clubs are available, so if he's not going to stay at Rangers, I'd like him to get up to that higher league at this stage of his career. At 26 years old he is now, and even if he's sticking about at Rangers, isn't getting his game every week. There's 2 domestic cups there. There's Europe as well. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be there's going to be chances for Jones to impress. So if he backs himself, I wouldn't mind him staying at Rangers. If he is to go, I would like it a slightly higher level than League One. He went out there at Sunderland last season, did well, and I think shown himself to be good enough for that level. So I'd like him to test himself a bit higher. And the final one, I think he deserves his own section on these weekly roundups now, because he's been in the spotlight for the last couple of weeks in the transfer rumours section. It's Bailey Peacock Farrell. So the latest on this one is that Burnley are looking at a £300,000 loan fee for him. So there's 3 clubs that have named to have been interested. I know I've covered some of them in previous roundups, but I'm going to start with the least likely, and I'm going to tell you why. Birmingham have been noted as being interested. Now, I reported last week that was reportedly close. Since then, they've signed Matthias Sarkic from Wolves on loan, and therefore, it's unclear as to whether they're still interested in Peacock Farrell. It hasn't been confirmed either way, really. One thing that is interesting, though, and this is why I think it maybe won't go through, is first of all, Neil Etheridge is there, so they've got 2 goalkeepers now. I know he's recovering from COVID, but for me, if you're Peacock Farrell and you're looking to get regular game time, you're not relying on maybe a month's period of a goalkeeper recovering from COVID and then having to fight for your spot. I think if you're dropping down the leagues, you want a guaranteed number 1 slot, certainly to start with. And also, you're only allowed 5 players in your matchday squad on loan in the Championship, so you can only name 5 loan players in your matchday squad. They already have taken 5 players on loan, assuming they sign Matthias Sarkic. I'm not sure if I said they signed him. I think Lee Bowyer says imminent. So if they do sign him, they have 5 loan players there, which means obviously one of them will not be able to make the squad, assuming all are fit, which is an interesting one. Obviously, you'd expect Peacock Farrell to be in the top 2 of those 3 goalkeepers if he was to go there. But let's wait and see on that one. There seems to be a little bit too much in the way of that. Sheffield Wednesday have been reported to have been interested in Peacock Farrell for quite a while, although they are League One and reportedly a little bit put off by the £300,000 loan fee that Burnley are looking. They feel that could be spent better elsewhere. And then the last one's an interesting one, because Bournemouth this week have been touted as being interested in Peacock Farrell. So they've lost Asmir Begovic to Everton. He's gone up to the Premier League. And Bournemouth are they need to sign a first choice keeper for this season. And they're reportedly interested in Bailey. So Mark Travers of the Republic of Ireland's there at the moment. I don't think he's massively convinced either on the international stage or at club level. I think he was out on loan at Swindon last year. So an interesting one that they're interested in him as well, because they made the semi-finals of the playoffs this year. Definitely will be looking to get back up to the Premier League, have a bit of money from the parachute payments, of course. So if he goes there, I think that's a really positive move for him. I didn't think he'd maybe get that high at Championship level club, just based on the fact he hasn't been pulling up trees at international level or club club level recently when he's got the chance. So I think if he gets moved to Bournemouth, that could be a really good one to kind of revitalise his club career. And let's have a look and see if that one goes through. But I'm sure we'll have another update on it next week, because we've had the updates every single week on Peacock Farrell. Could be one of those transfer sagas that goes right the way down to the wire. But you'd think, because Burnley have signed Wayne Hennessy, 36-year-old short-term contract, to let Peacock Farrell go out on loan, you would think that would then mean that they're fairly confident of securing him a club at whatever level to get regular minutes this season. So that's the transfer rumours rounded up. Already gone over 10 minutes, so goodness knows how long this is going to be. I really do apologise. I said I'd keep these short. I think I said I'd keep these under 10 minutes, but that's gone out the window. A bit of news from today pertaining to the Northern Ireland national team. Conor Bradley has signed a new long-term contract at Liverpool. I think we talked a little bit about this last week, maybe in the pre-season roundup part, where I was talking about how Conor Bradley had got some minutes in the half-hour games for Liverpool to kick off their pre-season. There have been rumours that Nico Williams, the current backup right back, could be out the door if the offer is right. And a big part of that is because of how highly Jurgen Klopp rates Conor Bradley. So he's got a long-term contract now. If Williams is to go, I wouldn't necessarily say that Bradley is going to go straight to being backup for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'd say you'll see maybe Joe Gomez or James Milner filling in there in certain games. Maybe in the League Cup or in a dead game in Europe, for example, you could see Bradley given his chance, but I don't think he's necessarily going to go straight to being like a Tsimikas who's going to come in and be back up for Robertson or Nico Williams, the role he's been playing the last couple of years. I don't think he's at that level yet, but he is only 17, 18 years old and, has a massive future ahead of him. The fact that he has been trusted, albeit in pre-season, and has been doing well, I think that speaks volumes about how highly the club rate him. So good to see that. Another kind of minor one, not really news, but I read this week that Johnny Evans still isn't back in club training for Leicester City. I personally think that's quite good news for us. We saw last year that he was constantly kind of on the sidelines. There was a knock here, a knock there. Playing through pain was a common phrase we heard about Johnny Evans last season, I think. For the Slovakia home game, I think he was nip and tuck for that, and we didn't really know if he was going to play. So he's been coming out in international duty. He's been rested in certain games in Nations League and things like that. So for me, if this is a pre-season just to get Johnny Evans right, I think that's a positive thing, and get his body right for next season and make sure all the kind of niggles that he's picked up are cleared, and he's kind of got a clean bill of health going into the next season, especially at his age as well. The only thing is Lithuania away is less than 6 weeks away now, I believe. I'm really bad at doing the maths across months, but I think it's less than 6 weeks away. It's on a Thursday night. So yeah, you'd like to think if he's kind of in a race to be fit for the start of the season for Leicester, he'll at least, definitely be back fit and be able to come on that international break with us. I mean, we could probably get away with it against Lithuania, but we need him for Switzerland. We need Johnny Evans for Switzerland, so it's that simple. So fingers crossed on that one. The last one, kind of two changes to the Northern Ireland coaching setup this week. The first one's Roy Carroll has come in to be the senior goalkeeping coach, kind of been fast-tracked through I'm not sure if he's fast-tracked through his badges, but in the sense that he was working with the youth team, and then Steve Harper's gone back to Newcastle United, so Steve Harper was there, and now Roy Carroll's come up. I don't think it's a massive piece of news, or it's massively going to affect anything. So I think the quality of our goalkeepers is first of all based on who we can select. We're very limited in that regard as a small nation, but also the quality of coaching they're getting at club level. So, in terms of what do I think is more important, Bailey Peacock Farrell getting the right move this summer, getting first team football and being coached by the highest level club possible, or the decision to, who's going to be coaching him in these 2 weeks that he's away on international duty every month or two. I think the former is more important. But Roy Carroll, he's had a great career. He's clearly respected within the squad. He knows the Irish FA setup. He knows Windsor Park. He knows this, that and the other. So, no problem with that at all. And good luck to Roy Carroll. And the final one, I think probably the biggest one, is we have a new under-21 manager announced today, John Schofield. We've taken him from Peterborough's under-23. He's previously head of the Lincoln City Academy. I think he's been in coaching for 21 years now. He's also had some head coach roles and managerial roles throughout the Football League. But he's come in to replace Andy Crosby, who's taken a full-time role up at Port Vale. So there was a vacancy there, and John Schofield's come in. So yeah, I don't know an awful lot about him, but as I kind of mentioned there, he has a good track record with under-23 teams, with academies. He's experienced, and listen, first of all, he knows the squad as well. He worked with Andy Crosby, so it's not completely new to him. We know the Irish FA have enjoyed kind of promoting from within throughout the last couple of years, and with the under-21s, they've got it pretty much spot on. Ian Barraclough, came in relatively unknown and nearly took us to European Championships. Andy Crosby took over from him in a caretaker role and did really well as well in the games that he managed. And listen, John Schofield, they'll have done the data on him, they'll know about him. He's been around the squad, they've clearly consulted with the players, and I'm prepared to give them a chance in this one, certainly, as I don't know an awful lot about him myself. So future's looking good. Young players coming through, both in pre-season and hopefully under John Schofield's tutelage, we can continue to challenge at the top end of the qualification groups. Qualifying starts for the under-21s in September, so we'll keep an eye on that, and fingers crossed that we can keep producing these great young talents that we have been in the last few years. So yeah, that wraps up everything. Nearly 16 minutes there, goodness me. I'll tell you what, by the end of the summer, these things could be 2 hours long. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Just two things. Do give us a subscribe on YouTube. I think we're on 35 now. If we get to 100 by the end of the summer, that would be amazing. I don't know if that's a little bit ambitious, but I think when all these big YouTubers tell you to like and subscribe, like your like or subscription won't really matter. But we are a very small channel, so it really will. So please do that, even if you don't use your YouTube account. It'll look great for our numbers. And do follow us on Twitter as well. So we do a lot of coverage on there at Spirit of 2016 Pod. So we'll be back. I'll be back next week for a summer roundup. And for the podcast, we'll probably be back just for the pre-Lithuania at the end of August, as we go into that double header, and we'll have full coverage around that. Post-match shows, there's a friendly in between. We'll get that all covered for you. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.